Well, it's morning and we're heading out of Hornillos del Camino now. It's been a bit of a strange morning. It's now about 7 o'clock and it's quite a nice early stop, but various pilgrims ahead of us or behind us. We were told last night by the people at the, it's not an albergue, the Castrojeriz, that there was a coffee machine and coffee making facilities, and he showed us everything in the kitchen and it was all great. So we didn't get any coffee the way we often do to drink cold, because why would we? And then this morning when I went to use the coffee machine, it wouldn't work. No power was coming out of the socket, so I tried the kettle in the same socket and that didn't work either. So I thought, right, I'll try the coffee machine in a different socket, and blew a fuse and all the lights went out. So didn't know what to do, hadn't got any idea, there was nobody to speak to. So haven't had any coffee. So if I'm not making much sense, that's why. But we have had some cold pain au chocolat. And there doesn't appear to be much on the way. I think there are a couple of albergues that will pass, so maybe they'll have tables outside where we could get some coffee. But the first main place on the way today will be Hontanas, which I believe is a really lovely village. Lots of people like to stay there if they can. I know I mentioned that yesterday. And I'm quite looking forward to the fact that I've read that a lot of people don't realise they're almost there. They'll look on a map and think, it says the village is here and there's no village. And then all of a sudden it just appears in this little dip that you haven't been able to see. So looking forward to seeing Hontanas. You're striding forth, Andres.
I am striding forth. And because I'm trying to warm up, because it's quite cold this morning.
It is quite cold, isn't it? Not very cold though. Not as cold as it was last night, really. Seeing a lot of these signs with the Castilla and Leon, the Leon part scratched out. And I was talking to somebody recently that was saying that in Leon at the moment they're wanting to have elections to go independent from Castilla. So I imagine it's to do with that. Look at that sun. Hillside looks like satin. It has been very flat, this section. High ground. But here, there's a sort of little dry stone wall with a couple of little towers. And then it just ends there. And I wonder whether this sort of, a feature! A feature of the landscape. Excitement is going to be a feature in the coming days or not. We'll see. Once again, skylarks all around us. So that is a male hen harrier, and the female is flying around as well. I'm hoping you'll be able to see it. It's basically sort of where my finger is there. So I'm not sure what the ruined building is there. Part of it looks newly made. There's a sign here saying Hontanas is 5 kilometres away. So that's where hopefully we'll get some coffee. Really looking forward to being there. Yeah, it is indeed Albergue Fuentes Cidras, a natural, unique place. Spacious rooms, bar, snack food, eco-sustainable. I think we probably want to crack on to Hontanas, but I imagine a lot of people will turn off there maybe a bit later on. Nice place. We decided why not say yes to the Fuentes Cidras instead of saying no, and we're going to have a coffee here and a coffee on Hontanas as well, because why not? We've got plenty of time today.
Someday I know he is coming back to call. He's gonna handle me and hold me so.
So we had Billie Holiday, we had whatever the one was before, arguably Gregory Porter. I like this.
I like it too, but I can't see that this is Gregory Porter.
I can just hear it. Sorry. Quizás.
Which apparently means maybe.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was a nice coffee stop. Very nice coffee stop. They're playing Ain't No Sunshine now. It makes me want to go back and have more coffee. We're not going to, but... Well, this is saying that the municipal albergue of Hontanas El Puntido is only 0.5 kilometers away. So maybe we're closer to Hontanas than we thought. More adverts, Casa Rural, Cedar Anais. That seems to be advertising too. There's also El Descanso of the Rest, Hontanas Albergue Municipal, past the church. Open all year, that's interesting. I think this part here where it just drops down ahead of us is possibly going to be where Hontanas is. I see a church. It is really nestled in a little dip. So this is a handy guide. A place of much life. I'll have to go through these and translate them one by one, but Iberian wolves, deer, tejon, badger, hares, rabbits, boars, kestrels. Huh.
Ach, misschien moet ik maar aankijken.
So I have an omelette with jamon and greenish tomatoes, and we have dos cafés con leche. Andrew has a sandwich, and it's a nice place. We're in Hontanas, of course, and the way goes down from up there. You walk along there, and over here you can walk down. Isn't it a lovely view?
We were saying about you.
Is it an easy word?
You don't look like you like to.
There it says bar and pool, piscinas. So if you come further into the village and you want somewhere else to eat, there are other options. We weren't sure, and that place up at the top had such a nice view, we thought we'd just stop there. But if you do come further in, you will have options. Hotel Rural here. There's the municipal albergue coming up. Lovely church. Supermarket and a cafe here. The Hotel Rural in Villa Hontanas. I think at one point I was looking at booking us in there when I wasn't sure whether we'd be able to get accommodation in Aguez or Atapuerca or anywhere around there. We were thinking about walking all the way to Rabe de las Calzadas, and we might have stayed there then. It looked a nice place. Somebody has a newly built castle. And they've designed their own fountain.
Easy on the flat bits.
Well, we're now almost at 11 o'clock and it's not going to be one of the days where we get in at 12:30 the way we did into Burgos, even though that was a longer walk. I think probably because we've just been taking our time. We've had that one coffee stop before we then stopped for lunch, and then we were nattering to a lady called Anne-Marie from originally from Derbyshire, who's been living in Australia for a while. So I had a bit of a chat with her. I've been looking forward to spending time in Hontanas, and it was good. So it sort of felt as though we spent some proper time there, even though we didn't spend too long in the town itself, the village. And now we're out back onto the Camino, and this is a road, obviously, but it's so nice the way the trees sort of just, you see behind, trees arcing over the road. It's a bit more open again now. Bird song all around again. I see in the Buen Camino app there's a kind of alert which says it's before you get to the Meseta section, and it says some people miss this section out. This is a place when you can flirt, think, be alone, meet more people. It's the best bit. It's titled "It Gets Even Better." If some people miss this out, we hope you wouldn't be one of them. I can see why maybe in the summer, because I know people get up really early and start walking and then do shorter sections sometimes and then stop at like 11 in the morning. So maybe if you're walking in the summer, because there's not so much shade in places. But certainly, so far it's been absolutely fantastic. I really would not want to miss this part out. And I think people are talking to each other possibly even more. So it's good for that too. Some of the fields are completely lilac in colour. It's like being in Provence or something. There's a field over there. Even when you're pretty good at navigating most of the time, you can get lulled into a sense that the Camino is just, guiding you onwards. The signs are there, you follow the signs, it all just happens, and then suddenly you think, there's nobody else around, is there? And there were lots of people. And then you check the app and you find out that actually you should be up there. So it's actually really nice on this road. We're not meant to be on the road because the Camino's up there, but looking on the app we can just get off and we'll link back up to it, so there's no problem. And actually I'm rather enjoying it. Maybe this is one of the, they say the Camino provides, we might not be on the Camino, but maybe we're meant to be having this little quiet section walking along the road between the trees by the haystacks. And I'm enjoying it. But yeah, it's relatively easy unless I'm unusually thick. It's relatively easy to go a bit wrong there, although we're the only ones that did. Hola. Maybe that was part of it, because a cyclist went past us when we got to this road and said Buen Camino as he went, and we just went down the road after him. There's a tower. I can't make out whether it's always been a tower or whether it's just part of a building. So we're getting off the road here and taking this little path which will link us back up with the actual Peregrino foot soldier pilgrim route, which is up there. So I know you won't be able to make this out, but just about above my fingertip there, in that field, there's a little dot, and it is a deer.
Wow.
I don't know whether it's moving or not. It's got its head sticking up.
It just moved its head.
Yeah. I think it's probably a roe, but I'm not entirely sure. Been looking at it through the monocular.
Probably will see us again. On the Camino you see us again.
Yes. So we're at the convent of St. Antón, and there's an albergue here, which some people are just checking into over there. I was reading about the monks of St. Anthony, and they were particularly dedicated to looking after people with the fire of St. Anton, which was a plague that afflicted people in the Middle Ages. But it was actually caused by the ingestion of a fungus which grew on rye crops. Yeah, it's ergotism is the name for it. And yeah, but the monks that were here in this particular convent particularly looked after pilgrims. Fell into disuse later on. We were just talking to a German gentleman who's doing the whole of this route for the first time on his own, and he's staying here.
It's an amazing place.
Yeah. So we're coming into Castrojeriz, and I was just reading that it's strongly recommended that one makes the trip up that hill to the castle at the top, largely for the panoramic views. These fields full of poppies. People are coming up here just because it's so pretty. And look at the poppies. So I might be wrong, but one of the things that I learnt when I used to do metal detecting was that pot, as in pottery, that has a biscuity texture to it, is often a sign of it being old. This to me looks as though it's got some painting on it of some sort, engraving. And we are actually right by the Roman way. So I wonder whether I've got a bit of Roman pot here. It's rather nice anyway. Here we are in the poppy field. It's such a nice spot. nice helpful map. We're coming in from up here and we'll follow it around here. Our hotel is around about here. It's not really a hotel, it's a hostel. It's around about here. Buenos días. You might not be able to make this out just yet, but there is a hoopoe. It's just at the bottom of the post there. You can see its little head. It's got a crest that's moving. I'm going to see if I can get closer, but it might fly off. It's just amongst the grasses there. We're just saying how the names of these places, when you're planning a trip like this, the names of the places all sort of, you know, they're different words, but they don't have different images attached to them yet, really. I mean, you might have seen one or two. But when you get here, you know, each place has a different feel. This is on a hill, and there's a commanding view from around. And the town itself, and I'm already thinking of it more as a town than a village, which I also hadn't expected. It's sort of in a crescent shape around the base of the mott-style hill, the mound that the castle is on the top of. But it's also beautifully clean, and today gleamingly bright. Everything looks dusty, but it's very, very well kept. Passing some albergues here, like a Chava Hotel. There's an albergue here, another albergue coming up ahead. In fact, the one coming up on the left is the one where we're staying. It's a Cien Leguas. Leguas, rather. The one on the right here is Ultrea. Hola. And this one here, on the left, a Cien Leguas, is ours. So we have a private room with a private bathroom, and look at this. Little seating area outside. Pilgrims writing in their journals. I love the plant pot. Look at that plant pot. Well, here we are, we're having a little lunch. We've got morcilla, and Andrew's having a colacao. I'm having a beer. I don't normally drink much beer at all, but I do find after walking it seems to really stop my muscles from going into knots. So that's my excuse anyway. Really, really lovely people, again.
This pudding is like I've ever tasted. It's just amazing.
So we've switched locations in the same place. We've come round the back to have a cup of coffee. And it turns out that the wonderful plant pot is actually around the back of the albergue we're staying in, rather than next door. There's a little garden area down there. Oh, and there are more jeans here. Well, we're back out. We're going to head up to the castle and also see if there are any restaurants around. I'm not too sure what we're going to do about eating later on. This is an interesting little facade. Just on the left here, there's nothing behind it. It's been occupied since the Bronze Age. Huh. Oh, this was interesting. It says that it was formerly a Visigothic settlement called Sierico. There's some more information as well. The castle dates from the first part of it dates from the 9th century. We're following the castle signs. It's going to zigzag around, and apparently it's very worth it for the view. Look at that view. I actually quite like being near to the rooftops. I know the view in a way will be more spectacular higher up. There's a story behind that. A little bird just flew out of the side here, the rock, right behind Andrew. He didn't notice it. It was so close to him. So you get to this point here and it looks as though there's no more path. And actually, it does go on. It goes round and there are steps. There's an information board here. It tells us that in the 9th century the basement area was erected, and then in the 11th and 12th centuries the tower on the left was put up with defensive bastions, and then in the 13th and 14th centuries they constructed another tower, and Yeah, it was in the 15th century that they started adding to the outer walls to strengthen them. So they were more defensive after that. So the way we'll go out tomorrow is apparently along there. Just thinking as we look towards those mountains over there, how you can really see how flat this area is that we'll be walking across for the next few days. Higher ground here. I think the martens are probably living in the rock there. And the sky all around. Another thing I found interesting is that you've got all these beautiful flowers, but actually beyond them, right below the castle, you've got a field of, it's a crop, I'm not sure whether it's, I think it might be barley? That is a bee eater. It's an absolutely glorious bird. A bee eater. Bee eater again. We've actually seen two of them now. There's one flying past. Well, I have to say, that would do me. Give it a bit of a sweep. I'd be quite happy there. This is heaven, this place. Oh, look, there's a bee eater. Just flying around as you do. They're the stained glass window of birds. They're just absolutely glorious creatures. I'm a happy person. There it is again. It's just a restaurant there. Who have we here? Homenaje a los que desde hace 1000 años. A homage to the people that for 1,000 years have given shape and spirit to the Camino. 15th of September, my birthday, 2001. It's a sculpture by Bruno Cuevas. So we're having dinner at a restaurant that overlooks the wonderful valley from which we've been able to see many birds. Well, I have only good things to say about today. It seems so long ago that we left Hornillos del Camino. And that first section, I mean, we already felt as though we got onto the Meseta, into a different area. But then leaving Hornillos, you felt you went up and up and up again, and then got to that flat area at the top. And then after that, dropping down into Hontanas, and knowing that that was pretty much halfway. We seemed to then cover a lot of ground quite quickly. We were talking to people. There was the tree-lined road that we took by mistake for a short way. But then getting to Castrojeriz, to me, I mean, this is a place I could actually live. I don't know whether I could if I saw it in winter, a different time of year. Maybe in the summer there's less wildlife, and of course for me that's a really big thing. I love the surprise of seeing things. But to see a bee-eater, I mean, it's something, first of all, they are rare in Europe. We don't get them at all, to my knowledge, in the UK. And they're fantastic, fantastic birds. But to see a bee-eater and a hoopoe, and I'm pretty sure it was a black-winged kite that we saw at one point. Also 2 hen harriers earlier on, a male and a female, and other birds that I still can't identify. There are little birds slightly larger than a sparrow, smaller than a blackbird, and they're bluey black in colour on their bodies. Underneath their tail is a sort of russet red, and they have a slight grey strip down the middle of their heads, at the top of their heads. But that combined with the history, I mean, there's the gentleman at the tourist information place when I took that piece of tile was saying that you can see the lines of the Roman village that used to be here on the aerial photographs, and further over there's another village where you can see another Roman village around the current village, and that there's a theatre there as well. But that the castle isn't just from the 9th century onwards, but also, and not like the Bronze Age as well, but it was specifically the beaker culture. So all of these things seem to mingle here, combined with currently very, very nice, friendly people. It's been wonderful. I'd come back here. I wish I could stay. Actually, the gentleman at the tourist information place said that if we could have stayed for another day, he'd have shown us around, or shown me around. I went and chatted to him. So, yeah, I want to come back here. I love it. Castrojeriz.